When I woke up from being asleep, I didn't remember anything. I didn't remember him. I didn't remember the kids. I didn't remember anything. So it was kind of starting all over from there.
What was your reaction to that?
I told her I was Tom Cruise. No, it wasn't good. She just said she didn't know me, and she got up and ran down the road.
Hello, and welcome to the Lock-In Podcast with me, Mike, and this is Baz. Say hello, Baz.
Hello, Baz.
Oh, I do love that. That's my favourite bit of the podcast every week. Really special podcast this week. For those that have listened to our previous podcasts, we did one that, believe it or not, was in November 2021 with a lady that we saw on TikTok called Tina. Tina suffers from epilepsy and has a service dog that alerts her when she's about to have a seizure and helps her while she's in a seizure and gets help, basically. I'm fascinated by service dogs, so we invited Tina on for that. And partway through Tina's podcast, she mentioned that she had a seizure in 2018 that was so severe that she suffered massive memory loss and doesn't now remember anything before 2018. And that kind of became the focus of the podcast, which, because you and I remember, like, you and I were just kind of like, what? And it was just that became the focus of the podcast because it just became like a fascinating story of triumph against adversity and so on. So, I mean, we said at the time that what we wanted to do was, because we'd heard Tina's side of the story, that what we wanted to do, because Tina's side of the story is that she doesn't remember anything before 2018 and kind of had to get to know her husband and her kids and everything again, which was a fascinating story and a really moving and inspirational story. And what occurred to us was just kind of like, what must it be like from her husband's point of view? So here's an idea. Why don't we get Tina back on with her husband and we can ask them both why we all went. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tina and Chopper. How are you both?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, very, very good.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Like I said, this is Tina, you were on our second ever audio podcast, believe it or not. And the first two podcasts we had, well, we just intended to get people on we thought would be amusing and interesting and fun to have on, yeah? Our first ever podcast was a guy who is an ex-forces guy who now basically goes to other countries and recovers kidnapped children. Our second one was your story. So we were like, shit, what are we going to do for number 3? It was intended to just be me and Baz chatting to people about silly things. We've had a guy that we met who trained to be a pilot, having lost his right arm.
I watched that one.
Yeah, just amazing stories.
Great.
So we were trying to intersperse the incredible stories with just me and Baz pissing about because, like, we want to say it's too much pressure for us going down the grown-up route. Thanks for coming on back in November. It was amazing, and we were amazed by your story. And like I said, we had loads of really good feedback. People were amazed. They were inspired. They were touched. And yeah, like I said, the main part of that podcast became you losing your memory in 2018.
Yeah.
And you explained a lot about how you've coped. But like I say, what we wanted to do was get the two of you on so that we could we have heard how you coped in terms of singular you. We now want to know how you, plural, have coped and how, because it's a phenomenal story and it's one of those things that just, I guess, until you're in it, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
Tina, do you want to just give us a quick recap of your story for people who haven't heard Tina's story? Tina will give you a quick recap now, but go back to our second ever audio podcast and listen to the full thing. But just give us a bit of a recap.
Okay. In 2018, I had a seizure in the night, and then when I had got up kind of prior, I went to go in the recliner to lay down for a while, take a nap because I was really tired. And when I woke up from being asleep, I didn't remember anything. And he was sitting on the couch, and he thought I was like kidding. So, but I didn't remember him. I didn't remember the kids. I didn't remember anything. So it was kind of starting all over from there, as far as just kind of relearning everything, teaching everything, just looking at a lot of pictures and, different stuff like that to kind of learn everything over again. And, everybody and everything about myself and about my kids and him and my family, just everything.
See, if I'd have been you, Chopper, and the moment Tina had said, "Who are you?" My first instinct would have been, "You're kidding, surely." What was your first reaction to? I don't know where I am or what the whole situation. What was your reaction to that?
And I told her I was Tom Cruise. No, it wasn't good. She just said she didn't know me, and she got up and ran down the road. And I had
Wow.
to chase her down and grabbed her, and she was screaming. The neighbors probably about put me in jail. But she was screaming, and I had to grab her up and bring her back down here, and she didn't know who he was at all.
Wow. You've done it again, literally. Like,
Yeah.
to be fair, it took Tina longer to get the pure silence, wide mouth out of me and Baz. You've done it within about 90 seconds there, mate. That's unbelievable. And it's and kind of post rationalizing it totally from Tina's point of view, totally rational from her point of view. From your point of view, Chopper, I mean, that initial moment is obviously a really kind of, oh my God, all of a sudden, this is very real. She doesn't know who I am. She clearly, it sounds like you got to a place where you thought she isn't taking the piss. She isn't joking very, very quickly.
You can tell. I've been with her 30 years, so I could tell.
Because that's the first thing he said to me. I remember when I first looked up, and he looked at me, and I was looking at him, and I must have been looking at him weird. And he said, "What?" And I was like, "Who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, quit kidding. That's not funny." And I was like, "I really didn't." And he went to come over to me, and I went like that. I remember did that, and I got up, and our house is kind of like, you can do kind of a circle around through the kitchen or through the living room. Both will lead to the front door. So I remember I ran towards the first opening I seen, and I seen the front door, and I was thinking, okay, I either can go out or I'm in here with someone I don't know, because I was kind of scared. So I just ran for the door. And then after I got out there and got to the road, I was like, I don't know where to go. Nothing looked familiar. I was thinking, okay. So then when he got out to me to bring me back in, I was thinking, well, I can either go in, because he had a picture of me with him in his hand, and he was trying to show it to me. And I was thinking in my head, like, well, I can either go back with him or just be out here where I don't know anything. Nothing looked familiar. So it was kind of like, it was scary.
So Chopper, what was your first thoughts about when Tina said she didn't know you? I mean, obviously you've dealt with having seizures before. Were you aware that this might have been something that had happened because of that, and you started to put it together as a knowing what's going on, or did you have to wait until you sought medical advice to find that this was properly true?
No, I knew it was probably true because she hits her head hard a lot. If the dog ain't in here, I come in there, you just hear a big noise, and it's her. The worst part about it was the kids, if she knew the kids or the grandbaby and stuff like that. I mean, I would have to deal with it, but that would be the worst part.
Wow. And so when you realize this is very, very real, how do you go about kind of trying to rebuild things? And I know I've probably jumped a long time there. It's kind of that I should imagine there's a long time where you're trying to get used to this is real. But then when you do realize that it's real and very real, and you just kind of, at what point do you try and think, right, well, how can we piece together the fact that somebody I've been with for 30 years thinks I'm a stranger, and how do we kind of rebuild a relationship on those terms?
Right. It just kind of fed in around here, and she started getting used to back here. But when we go to stores or something, people will come up to her and hug her, and she'll say, "Who is this?" And they'll think she's lying. I said she lost her memory, and it just lots of people are friends. She don't know a lot of her friends. Still, she don't know people. If I run into some old friends, she don't know who they are.
In some cases, that must be quite nice because we've all got friends that we probably want to avoid at some point, haven't we? So,
Yeah.
Did you do any kind of? I mean, I'm assuming at some point you sat down with, like, I don't know, as a family and with a bunch of photographs. And was there quite a kind of an intense process of trying to kind of almost tell the story of the 40 years quickly, or did it have to be? Would that have been too overwhelming, or did it have to be done more slowly than that? How did that kind of process happen?
Well, for me, it was like a lot of my parents and my sisters and people came over kind of because he called my parents and stuff right after it happened to tell them that there was something wrong, and they all come over, pretty quickly. But for me, it was pretty overwhelming trying to have everyone coming so fast and then looking at all the pictures and looking through. I mean, they were all wanting me to do it, but it was a little bit overwhelming for me. It kind of, and like my doctor told me, don't push myself, because he said you can actually set yourself backwards if you try to push too hard. And I tried to look at pictures and do stuff like that a lot, but sometimes it actually made me feel worse because I was so upset because I couldn't remember, anything in the pictures or nothing like that people was telling me. But I mean, I like to hear it and I liked it, but it got really, really overwhelming. There were some times that I was really overwhelmed by company and stuff like that.
So one thing that strikes me is that obviously, we joked like we spoke to you first time, that there must be some memories that, like, it must be nice to not have, because obviously we've all got things in our past which you wouldn't want to remember. But
Yeah.
So Chopper, as being the longest serving sort of part of Tina's history, up to that point, I suppose the pressure must be on you to kind of like relay all the good stories and all the stuff like that. So it would have sort of involved you remembering quite a lot of stuff as well. To kind of there must be stuff that you'd forgotten as well that you'd have to try and remember to sort of let Tina know had happened, right?
It's just I had a lot of stories to tell her that she don't remember, but she's getting better on certain stuff.
It's weird. I'm just trying to sort of like, Mike's probably doing the same thing. Think in your head what you would do if my wife suddenly woke up and said, "Oh, I don't remember you and I don't remember anything in the past." I'd be thinking some of the things where I was a bit of a nuisance, where I'd be going, "Oh no, that didn't happen." But and I'm not suggesting you sit here right now and tell us all those things, but it's like starting all over again, isn't it? With not with a complete stranger, but with a stranger.
Yeah.
And obviously after 30 years, you would have both changed quite a bit from the day that you first met. Is there a point where you're kind of going, "Oh, I don't want to tell everything in case, you don't like me now"?
Well, I had a couple of my friends that come and visited me that the one, she was a little louder and, and different things like this. And she messaged me and called me after she left. And she was like, "Now, you may not like me now. We've been friends ever since we were like 14. She said, "But if you don't like me or can't take me, just let me know. It won't hurt my feelings because, I'm a lot to handle." People think people's different when they get older. You change, from when you were younger. But there's a lot of stuff that he would tell me and I'd be like, "That didn't really happen. Like, did it really happen? Or are you pulling my chain? Like, or some stuff." He'd tell me some stories and then he'd say, "I did this and this," and then he'd say, "No, I'm just kidding." So, to kind of lighten it up a little bit, try not to be so serious about everything all the time. But I mean, it's a lot to take in from 16 years old till, now, because that's when we got together. Was actually, I was 16.
Yeah.
The dog's barking. He thinks he's locked in a room and he's not even locked in. The door's open. He's just hiding under the bed and barking. The door's not even shut. He just hasn't came out to know that he can come out. He's still barking.
But maybe he thinks there's two weird English guys in the house and he's just being protective. He's just trying to bark to get these English guys out of the house. It's like, they're not supposed to be here.
Tina, how do you get to a point where, as you are now, that you're sort of in love again and you're a couple? How long does that take?
I don't know. I don't really know. He did, when he told me that, when I was asking who he was and stuff, he said we're married. I'm your husband. I just kind of was a lot to kind of take in. I really didn't know. And then he was trying, showing me pictures and showing me, pictures in the house and trying to explain that we've been together for this many years and this and that. And it was just kind of, I really didn't know really what to think at first. And I guess it was just, I didn't feel, it took me a little while to feel comfortable, a few weeks just around the house, just because everything was different. Like I didn't even know where anything was in my own house. So it was just a few weeks to actually feel comfortable, period. Not to mention, with him. And then of course Hayden lives here, so it was kind of, they talked me through everything and, let me know everything. And I felt comfortable with them the more time went on. It really didn't take a long time to feel comfortable. It was kind of like, I could feel like that connection, but it was just, different. But I mean, it didn't take real long. I felt more comfortable then. When I got more comfortable here, I didn't really want to leave the house a lot, because this was kind of like my comfort zone, my safe space, it just took a little while.
It's weird when you say you've lost all of your memories, because your initial thought would be you don't know what a chair is and you don't know anything. You don't know what words are.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite work like that, does it? It's just certain memories which are all the sort of connected things. So obviously, from your point of view, Choppy, you must be thinking, well, hang on, you know that's a chair. You know how to talk. How can you possibly? Is there a point where there are times where you think, oh, actually, I'm not buying this, because you remember some of the important stuff, but you don't remember the kind of detailed stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you'll say something and she'll remember, and I'm kind of thinking, no. But they say when you lose your memory, that happens.
Well, because he's even said to me before, like, how did you know that? How did you know that? I don't think I've told you that. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, he might say something and I'll say something after responding to him, and he'll be like, how? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, sometimes I don't even know where it comes from. It's just things will pop into my head. And the doctor said sometimes that's how little memories come back. And I don't even realize it. Or we might be talking about something and he'll say, did you remember this? And I'll say no. But then I'll be like, oh, well, it kind of sounds familiar. Or, things just come and he'll say, I don't think we've talked about that. Or I don't think I told you that. I don't remember telling you that. And I'm like, I don't know how I knew that. It just, just came out.
Do you feel that your memories come back in bits and pieces where you're unaware of it?
I think so. Like I said, like some of the stuff that we maybe talk about, or some things that happen, and then I'll be like, I don't even know where that came from. I don't even recall it or don't recall it. It's just like, I don't, so I think things have come back that I'm not even aware that have came back, or maybe I'll do something or say something that I didn't even realize that I knew, or didn't even realize that happened. Or sometimes I'll be like, did this really happen? Or like, did I dream that? Or did it really happen? Then sometimes he'll be like, no, that really happened. Like, we really did that. Or like with the one song I remembered, I asked him, I was like, I just randomly remembered this song, and I asked him, like, that wasn't long after I lost my memory, and he was like, no, that was our wedding song. I was taking a bath and the song just kind of come to my head, and just stuff pops in like that, which my doctor said, he said, you could go to bed and wake up and they all be back just like it never happened.
Oh, that'd be
he
wild.
Said, or yeah, and he said, or you could never get anything back, or he said you could get it in like flashes, like you may just see bits and pieces. He said you could get it back 80, 20, you just don't know. There's no way to ever know. And there's a chance any seizure that you have, it could take it back again. I mean, it could wipe it out because there's already damage done to that, part of the brain. So it kind of makes it scary with each seizure, because you're kind of now not knowing. Because you're confused after a seizure anyway. A lot of times I'm kind of confused at first. So it kind of makes it scary, because you don't know, is that confusion like just because I'm confused, or is there something going on again?
And it's kind of sad that people really don't believe it. Like certain people we know, they act like that it ain't no big deal, or it didn't really happen. That's what we think. That's what we think to ourselves.
You can understand how some people would be like that, because it does sound unbelievable. But obviously, well, I suppose it's that thing of, if someone doesn't believe it and they're just thinking you're making this up, it seems like a lot of effort to go to make up a story like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it sounds like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
That's what it might. I've kind of watched movies with, and I've started, like, I keep my journal logs. I, keep my video logs and different stuff like that. So that way I started doing that afterwards in case something ever happens again. So I do have stuff in my own writing and in my own, words and in my own. So it's not having to be told to me by somebody else. I mean, I remember the first day that it happened when it was just him and I, and then Hayden was at school and she came home. But I remember when he had called my parents and they were on their way home, I think from like a doctor's appointment or something, and they got here. We were outside because I was more comfortable going out. I wanted to go out. I didn't really want to be in the house. And when they come on the porch, it's just seeing people's faces. It's like it broke my heart because I really didn't know. And them coming on the porch and telling me like they're my mom and dad, and they're like, can we hug you, stuff like that. And it was just really sad because everybody's faces, they look so heartbroken, and I'm just like, I was scared and for myself and sad and stuff like that, but I didn't really know how to feel to all the people that look so heartbroken. It was really sad.
Again, lost for words. Just trying to put myself in that place. It just can't even imagine what it's like. But one question I wanted to ask you, Chopper, is Tina the same person? I mean, and obviously, personality may change. Might be more introverted because she doesn't want to go out as much because it can be confusing, or doesn't want to deal with people not knowing her and or her not knowing people and things. But underneath all of the understandable stuff, is she still the same person?
Yeah, she's pretty much the same person. I mean, she's always been good. I've never heard her cuss, talk bad, or don't talk bad about anybody, and she still don't. She's just a good person.
There you go. It's nice that that stayed the
He
same.
ain't like me. I cuss every other word.
He's being good right now.
I was gonna say, can you imagine? It's like, she's never said a bad word, and then she has this seizure, and all of a sudden, it's just like all this language is coming out of her, and it's like, what the hell's that?
He makes up for the language. We're kind of opposite on that kind of stuff, and I guess that's why we've been together so long, because we are a lot different on things. But I mean, I guess that works. That's probably why he's kind of being quiet. He's trying to figure out what to say without having to bleep out every other word.
So you met at 16. Were you at school?
I was just had started my 11th grade year of high school, I think.
I was 15.
Oh, right. You're a toy boy.
You're older than me. He's older than me.
Okay.
He was out of school, and I was still in high school.
I was going to say, because obviously when you first meet people, that's obviously quite a fond memory that people have, because whether it's fun or whether you bumped into each other or whatever. But obviously,
I don't even see. I don't remember how we met. He's told me the story. I like hearing it, but I don't remember anything about even when we first met.
I chased her around.
He chased me for a while, he said.
I met her at a concession stand at a ball game. She worked for her dad on the concession stand, so she'd work there, and I watched a lot of ball. So I went there about every game after that.
Just keep going back.
Did you feel as well once you've got this new woman in your life, ostensibly that's what she is, that you sort of felt you had to sort of woo her again, or did it just work in naturally, the fact that you kind of had that connection still?
It was just natural.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. I mean, it's different, but it's about the same. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
With the seizures, and I understand about the memory loss, but it's got better, so it's more comfortable.
He would always tell me, like when it first happened, he would tell me, like, if I do anything that feels uncomfortable, if I say, anything that's not, because it was hard for him to kind of get out of his normal routine, because he would still go about the day just like that. It was probably hard for him to keep remembering every day when he get up that now I have to do things all differently. I have to treat it like that she doesn't know. So he would always tell me, I told him, be as normal as possible, do what we normally would do. And, because the doctor even said, try to do everything as normal as you can, because that might even help trigger things. But he would tell me, if I do something or something's not comfortable or so, or if it's pushing too fast or something, just let me know. And I said, just be as normal as you can be. If there's something I'm even doing that would not be, tell me, but it was funny, like even eating foods and stuff when we'd go places and stuff. But it kind of just fell into place, but they made it real easy for me, him and the kids and, my parents and stuff. They just kind of didn't overcrowd me, but they did enough to where I, felt that I was supported, but wasn't too overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like, it was the weirdest thing though, asking, I remember right after it happened, I was sweating. I was sweating so bad that day because I think I was scared and everything. And I remember I said, can I get another shirt? Because I'm like sweating so bad. And he's like, yeah, just go in there. I'm like, I don't know where it's at. like where do I go to get, I was like, I need some deodorant. And he was like, just get whatever. And I'm like, can you show me where the bathroom is? And stuff. And it's just like, that's little stuff that you don't think you would have to say, so he's like trying to show me where stuff is and everything. But that's one thing I still remember. I was sweating so bad. I was like, can I get a clean shirt? I'm like sweating so bad.
Her food taste has changed.
That has changed.
Liking different foods.
Come here, Al.
Really?
Yeah, tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah. She still likes tacos, but Mexican kind of food, but she has changed a lot on different foods.
That must be weird.
So is that things that she really used to like that she doesn't, and vice versa? Oh, there you go.
Max decided to rise. He's been under my feet.
For those of you listening on the audio podcast, I need to paint a visual picture there. And Max, the massive German Shepherd service dog, has just come in and licked Tina's entire face twice. Just to say, it's all about me, Mom. It's all about me.
He's been laying by my feet, and I bent down to pick Alvin up because he finally come out of the room and quit barking. So I picked him up so he'd quit, and Max thought that was his cue to get up here too.
Yeah, Max is a big chicken. He's scared of that.
He's scared of the Chihuahua. There's a couple things like I ordered or something that I got before, and a Big Red Pop is one of them. I think because he likes that, and I remember I got one out of the refrigerator and was drinking that, and he's like, "You don't like that?" And I took a drink, and I was like, "Oh, I do like it. It's very good." And he's like, "You've always hated it. You never liked it at all." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I like it now." So it's just some stuff like that's weird. Or we'd go to order stuff. People probably thought we were crazy. We'd be standing at the thing, and he'd say, "No, you probably don't want to get that because you don't like that." And I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, what do I usually get? And they're probably thinking, what? So I would, and he's like, but get whatever you want, and then I would get some stuff that he said you never would get it or didn't like it, and then I like it. It's weird. Or vice versa. There was stuff that I liked before that I'm just like, I don't even like that. So it's kind of weird.
This is fascinating just because just how complex the brain is. Because like you said before, is that, the day when it happened, you were sweating a lot, and your brain knew kind of an embarrassment that you were sweating a lot, and you wanted to correct that and the correction was to put a fresh shirt on or to put some deodorant on, and you knew what a shirt was, you knew what a deodorant was. You said, I need to go to the bathroom to do it, so you knew what a bathroom was. You just didn't know where your bathroom was, what your deodorant was, that it was your shirt. And it's just it's incredible that there's something has happened in your brain. Yeah. But there's also a lot that is unaffected.
Yeah. And that's why I talked to my doctor, asking just different questions, because I was just, I had so many questions. And he had told me, he was like, well, it's so weird what certain parts can forget and stuff like that. And he said, like, you may never remember that you took driver's ed, or that you don't know that you even have a car. But if you get in that car, you'll be able to drive that car. Like that part will might come back. You just don't know. But he said it's weird how your mind can decipher different things. Like cooking, I can cook stuff, but I might not remember the recipes. I'd have to be like, okay, now what exactly do I put in to cook this? But then if you put me over there, I can make it as long as you tell me what to put in it. Or I might need. It's just weird how it does that.
Just like she never drank alcohol, now she drinks a 12-pack a day.
I do not. I don't even.
There you go.
That's a lie.
I was going to say
it's a lie.
We can joke about stuff now, which makes it nice, because he does that because he's a big kidder anyway.
This works in two ways, doesn't it? Because I don't know what the division of labour was in your house before the seizure, but there's a two-way thing here. Like, Tina, you could just go, Oh no, I don't remember how to cook. I don't remember how to clean. I do. I
I
know
don't
how
know how to do
to.
anything.
I know how to watch TV on the sofa all day. I'm really good at that now. And
You have
obviously,
to do it all because I don't know how to do that.
and obviously as well, there could be, from Tom's point of view, it was like, oh no, you always used to take the bins out. You always used to go to the shop and buy this.
Your favorite thing used to be cleaning the toilets. Just you wouldn't let anybody else do it, so I don't want to stand in the way of that.
So 2018, what's it, 6 years now? Is that so? At which
No.
point? How many years is it? It's 4 years.
3,
Yeah.
4,
Oh,
going on
yeah,
4
yeah,
years.
totally.
Yeah, almost 4.
Matt, I was doing so well up to that point. just delete that bit. That'd be fine.
I'm definitely not editing that out, Baz.
Thanks, mate. 4 years isn't a long time to try and get back 40 years worth of memories, and obviously you've been together. At what stage do you both feel that you're at? You're sort of like getting your memories back, because obviously you can't get them all back. It'd be too much, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So what sort of
I
stage are you
wish.
feeling now?
I mean, I always wish that, I go to bed a lot of times hoping, like, man, I wish I just would wake up tomorrow and be everything back, but I don't try to over hope for that, because, you don't want to be disappointed. But I mean, we're pretty good, on everything right now. It still bothers me sometimes. I get upset about it. Like the other day, I got picture albums out and I hadn't done that in a while. And then I kind of, it bothers me sometimes when I do that, because then I think, as far as I've come, but then I still don't remember that, or like I don't remember that Christmas, or I don't remember this, or stuff like that. But we're pretty good, on everything, as far as, our relationship and stuff around here, and with my kids and, grandbabies and stuff like that. I mean, we're pretty good.
And it's sad that when it first happened, her grandma was passing away and she didn't know who she was, and it was kind of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that wasn't long. I hadn't happened long after that she passed away, and I was really, really close to my grandma, I guess, and so that was rough. But it was really strange, because I mean, I had tons of pictures of my grandma and I, and stuff like that, and they took me to the nursing home to see her. Like, she had already passed away by the time we got there, but it was so weird, because I hadn't actually got a chance to see her yet. I had been going to go visit her, but I just really hadn't got myself to get out of the house yet. That was really before I had been going anywhere. But it was like, when I seen her, it just completely broke me. I just broke down and cried. It was like my heart was like broke. It's like my heart knew that she meant a lot to me, even though I couldn't remember, like, childhoods with her, because I used to go on vacation with them when I was younger, and different things like that. But it was weird. It's just weird how, like my doctor said, your heart knows things that your mind may not remember. You can still feel it, like your connections with people, and that's the only way I can explain stuff like that.
That's incredible to feel, genuine grief for somebody who you don't even remember.
Yes.
It just shows that, like I say, the brain, the heart, the soul, they're all intertwined, and it's just you've clearly lost a lot of things. But also it feels like you've retained a lot as well.
Yeah.
Those just aren't memories.
Obviously, you said there's some people that you haven't seen for quite a few years because they're passing friends. But did you have to phone round a lot of people, sort of explain what had gone on, so to avoid the kind of conversation when you bumped into people? You must have had to sort of pre-warn a fair number of people, hadn't you?
He did. He would warn everybody, like ones that wanted to come and see me, because he messaged a lot of people when they found out what happened, like on Facebook and stuff. People messaged him, and then my daughter did also. And then when people wanted to come and visit, he would either meet them at the door ahead of time or talk to them ahead of time and tell them, like, don't go up and just hug her right off. It scares her. Don't. He kind of he tried to his best to warn people, or to tell people, or if we went out, like to Walmart, or just a grocery store, or just anything, and he's seen somebody that maybe didn't know. Because I mean, after it happened, a lot of people didn't know about it at first. And then my daughter had put something for like friends on Facebook, but she didn't actually put exactly what happened. She just put, people that know my mom, they can message us so we can let them know what happened. And we would maybe see somebody out, and he would try to get to them, because I would say, like, just help watch out for me in case we run into anybody we know. And he would try to get to them before they could get to us to let them know what happened, so it wouldn't be so awkward. It still would make it awkward, but that way they would know, kind of heads up. He tried his best to let everybody know ahead of time, but he did a lot of messaging, and he had a lot of phone calls and messages where people was, trying to find out what went on, that he had to explain to a lot of people.
Do you feel now, after 3.5 to 4 years of having your memory back, like it's a husband-wife relationship and it's a mother-child relationship? Have you feel that over that short time that they've gone from complete strangers to, it does feel like
Yeah.
a mother-daughter relationship and a husband-wife relationship and that sort of thing?
Yeah. To me, it doesn't, like I said, it's so weird how you just kind of feel like that connection with people. Because like with my kids, I just don't, besides my knowing what I missed out on, I don't feel like it any different. You know what I mean? I've got that connection with both my daughters, my granddaughter, my son-in-law, all of them. And it just feels like to me that no time has, changed anything. Even though, then I'll think back on stuff, it kind of bothers me because I think I don't remember that or something. Or then sometimes they'll talk about, and I'm like, I know I don't remember that, but it kind of sounds familiar, and there's some things. But it just seems like to me that it's just normal.
I think it's fairly lucky that you're with someone like Chopper, who was able to deal with it so well, because there would have been maybe other people that wouldn't have dealt with it so well, or they would have used it for their own, don't mean horribly, but their own gains or their own benefit.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
true. That's very true.
Let's be honest, there would have been a lot of guys who wouldn't have stayed around.
Yeah. And that's what I've said, because I couldn't imagine how hard it was for me, and the way I felt. I couldn't imagine being on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they would have no clue what it was like to be me, on my side, as hard as it was for, so either way, it was a very hard situation to be in, regardless of which side you're on. Either got my side, where I just felt like everyone was strangers to me, and then they, them talking to me and wanting to show me comfort and wanting to show, and me being scared of them. I mean, that had to be heartbreaking, to think that your spouse or your mom it's just not comfortable, around you. And, that's why I always told them, I can't imagine what you guys go through.
Well, here's the deal. If you leave someone, I couldn't imagine, man, you don't love them then.
Yeah.
You never loved them before, you didn't. You lost love for them. You're in it. If you left, that's your bad, and you're the problem.
I presume your future now is like making new memories, and also now with the possibility you might lose them, recording them a bit more sort of faithfully. So you're taking more photographs and sort of, more. Obviously, you're on TikTok now, so there's a big chunk of memory which you'll always be able to look back on. But it's really weird. Usually, we all ask what people have got in the future, but obviously yours is probably, because it's such a short-lived thing. Again, you must be sort of planning stuff. You're planning any big things, because you want to make memories or reliving memories that you made.
Yeah, not really. We just kind of go day by day. That's really kind of the way we do everything, just day at a time, because we just never know what the next day is going to be like. So we just kind of do everything one day at a time.
I need to thank you both so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Your story is inspirational as much as it's heartbreaking, and it's uplifting as much as it's sad. I just think that it's a story of what love can come through. I think is what I feel most about this. In that, I don't think there's ever a better example or illustration of, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, and just what marriage is about. And I've literally just got goosebumps talking about the two of you. I'm in awe of you both. I think you're incredible. Thank you so much for being on. Really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Fascinating again.
Nice to meet both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
And good luck. Good luck for the future. And
thank you.
Thanks for coming on. And listen, people, if you wanna know more. Oh, one thing I nearly forgot to say is that if you go to the website, thelockin.co.uk, there is a GoFundMe where we're raising money for a training fund for Max. So Remember, Max is the service dog we haven't talked about today.
He's laying down my
so
feet.
Max is the service dog that got us to this story. But yeah, if you're listening to this, if you're watching, go to thelockin.co.uk, which is our website. There's a link there where you can donate to the GoFundMe page, and let's get some money raised because not wanting to get too political about it, but everything costs a fortune in the States. You don't get anything for free, so yeah, people get on there, go and donate. Thanks again for coming on. Listen, if this is your first time watching or listening, please subscribe. Go back to November 21 and listen to the first one where we first met Tina. But anyway, guys, thanks again so much, and we'll see you all next time.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sweet.